Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Proper Royals Live. I am Adam from Proper Royals, and that is Steven from Leviathan Snakes, and Courtney will be joining us very, very shortly. I promise you on that. We got a cool show tonight. We will cover a little bit of what's been going on in both of our worlds. This week, they are the guests, and they've had a much more interesting week or 2 weeks than I have had, but I've had a lot going on as well here at Proper Royals. Then we're going to talk reptile shows, selling ball pythons in general, and selling at the shows. We got the disco over there in Aiken. Wait, no, you should leave it going. Here we go. We're going to hit the music, and we're going to start this show. Let's go. All right. Hey, guys. So, wow, we got, I think I saw like 6-7 people joining us right off the bat. Thank you all very much. Mark, 403 Fauna, how you doing? John from Inkline, it's great to see you. Drew Farrell, I'm sorry, I don't recognize you, man. Thank you very, very much for coming tonight. We're very happy to have you on here. There's 403 Inkline, we see you all the time. I'd love to say hey to everybody who came by, give you a shout out to your channel.
Again.
The rave is on. You guys are killing me over there.
It's this extension cord isn't very good, so it has to be like exactly right for us.
Are you on a dimmer outlet?
No, it's just a bad extension cord is what it is.
Okay.
How are you using it?
Because we didn't have another one that I could find easily. So, but yeah, I apologize. Hopefully nobody gets a seizure. We're gonna have to have a content.
Oh yeah. You know what? That's true. Hey, apologies ahead of time. Yeah, we should watch that. I didn't think about that. Yeah, we got the dancing emojis now. That's why we go live. It's for the fun stuff that way. So this week, give us an overview other than the show. What have you guys been working on? I saw you had some pickups, and give us the business end too. Give us all the socials. Okay. Tell us about yourself.
Okay, so as Adam had already said, my name's Steven. I'm with Leviathan Snakes. This is Courtney. She's coming over right now. She's putting Lola up outside.
She keeps stepping on the extension cord,
making the rave go. So
gotcha.
So for this last week, it's been a really, really fun, cool week for us. Our first show, which we'll talk about later on. We picked up some snakes. Do you want to talk about the imports and the?
Of course.
Okay. Yeah. Do you want to do it
right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, give us just a quick one. We don't make a whole show of it, but that is actually, it's pretty cool, man. I saw your pictures on Instagram, and tell everybody your socials, where you're at, that kind of thing, how they could check you out if they're not following you yet.
So we are at Leviathan Snakes on Instagram. We are Leviathan Snakes on YouTube. Those are the big ones that we post on. We have a morph market. There's nothing on there right now. But we've got 2 clutches hatching out this week. One, the last baby just came out today. And then the rest, the other clutch should be pipping Friday. So we'll have some more babies up there here shortly. But we actually sold most everything at the show this past weekend. And other than 2 normals that I'm not going to list on Morph Market, we've got pretty empty racks right now.
So before the show, we kind of had been on a buying spree recently. We've picked up a breeder size clown female. We were super excited by that one on Morph Market. We picked up an amazing snake from Josh and Jackie at the Ball Python Shed. Courtney picked him up.
So that was a female maker banana orange dream, and she
cool.
asphalt.
And she asphalt. And did I see you picked up a super asphalt as well?
Yes, that's all. Yeah, that's a story for the show because it's
okay.
So those were all shipped in, and so we got shipped in. We got the breeder size clown, we got the asphalt male, and then Steven picked up 2 imports from Outback.
It was really, really all right. So I'm assuming everybody here knows Outback and has gone to their website, and that they'll occasionally get in a shipment of imports, and I just will check it every now and then. And I saw this one that looked freaking so cool. She was a female. It was listed as Orange Julia. She looked amazing. And I like text Courtney a picture of her, and I was like, can we get a captive hatch import? And she was like, she looks pretty dope. Get her. So I'm like, yes.
So Steven goes, wait, really?
Like, so
Because I usually say that.
So hang on, back up for 1 second. So this was a snake you saw online, not just ran across at the show.
No, so
Yeah,
this
this
is
is
all
online.
these are all our pickups before the show. I know
yeah,
you
we'll
wanna
talk about the show. We'll talk
Before the
about
show. Okay, I didn't know if you arranged to pick
Sorry,
up
no.
there. I got you. Okay.
So we get the we order her days coming where they're going to ship it out, and Ian from Outback calls us, and he's like, look, man, this never happens. I was just sexing her as I was putting her in the box, and it's a male. And we're like, oh, we specifically want a female because of how it would fit into our project.
Because I don't really want to waste,
A
female.
Trying to prove out the snake, but this snake looked freaking cool.
Yeah.
And he told us, if you want, I will give him to you for free, and you can take the amount that you paid and apply to it for another like captive hatched. So we go around looking. We end up doing that. We get 2 captive
You're
hatched.
doubling down on the blackjack table. You got to do it. You have to every time, right?
So
And-
Steven picked the most expensive.
It was
one.
not the most expensive one.
It was the most expensive to me.
So it was, but they are both freaking beautiful, and we have pictures up of them on our Instagram, and they look really, really cool. Like,
We're really hoping, especially that male, we're really hoping to see him prove out, and we'll be pairing him to that. Either that, and probably not the Enchi. We'll probably be pairing him to the female clown.
Yep.
Visual clown that we just.
Oh, interesting.
when he's ready.
Yep.
Just to see, if he proves out, then the very first thing we can put it in is clown.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's but yeah, so we're super excited by it. They look really cool. We're really, really excited about those. So those were before the show. So
And so at the show, our show was amazing, just absolutely amazing as far as vending.
Yeah.
Is that what you would want us to talk about first?
or do you want to talk about other stuff before we get there?
We'll
Sorry.
go through the weekly update stuff. Yeah, I got a fair amount going on my end too here. So what content are you guys working on? What's coming up next? That sort of thing.
YouTube video that we just did?
We just shot a YouTube video talking about what we picked up at the show.
Oh, cool. Okay. All right. Very good.
Yeah.
So, all right, and that'll be on YouTube.
Probably the weekend.
Yeah, probably this weekend.
Very
Whenever
cool.
he gets around to it.
Very cool. So this week I had, as far as content, the new egg cutting video is up, which was my first clutch. And spoilers on that, it's a banana ghost pastel clutch. And the banana odds were way in our favor. We did really, really, really well on that. I got to be honest, I have no idea if the ghost clutch is in our odds were in our favor or not because of the pre-shed. They all look a little kind of milky and hazy. So, I think I know what it is, but I got to wait and see. So that'll be content coming up. Thursday, a rundown of my lavenders project is going up. So we'll talk some dreamsicle content there, as well as down the road, lavender clowns, lavender axanthic snows, and then just more lavenders too. And compare, I've got a juvenile and a mature female. So we see the difference there. Hey, Casey, I see you signing on there. Thanks for joining again, man. I really appreciate seeing you. I hope you're well out there in Oregon. And then I got some cool things. I really am making this ball python thing as part of I hope it's not a midlife crisis, but I hope I'm not the midlife yet. But it's part of a learning. I've never jumped into sort of the business, how to apply social media to my professional world. So learning and growing these communities are interesting to me. That's as much why I do the live stream. And out of the blue today, I get an email at my proper royals at gmail.com account. And it's somebody that wants to send me products to check out and review, and I get to keep them for free. So, yeah, I mean, that's cool. I mean, I kind of wish they were guitars or snakes. And instead of, spoiler alert, they're maggots for my bearded dragon. But, all joking aside, the concept of building a community, starting to have some influence, which I don't mean that in an egotistical way. I just mean it in a viewership, outreach, what we're able to reach kind of way. It's super cool. And for all you real nerds out there that are into crypto and that stuff, I actually sold my first Proper Royals NFT. If you want to talk about that another time, I realize that doesn't reach many long distance audiences, but I was really pumped about that. And I have to tell you, the handle of the person that bought it is Will Banks.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't know if it's him, because it's so much of it is the beauty of crypto is the confidentiality of the transaction. So I have no way of knowing for sure, but sure enough, man, the handle that is used is Will Banks. So I'm working on trying to get in touch with him on that. So we were talking before the show. What'll be content in another week or week and a half. I cut some eggs yesterday, het pied to an Orange Dream het pied pairing, and boom, zero, no pieds, just. So I'm down and bummed a little bit about that, but that is part of the process. Matter of fact, you all shared with me kind of a similar situation with your with an albino clutch, right? Yeah. So, it happens. For those of y'all that think that this is just a get rich overnight thing, it's a process. It's a journey. There's going to be unaccounted for things. But also, I think I saw somewhere today, like I look at all these goofy things, I think it's National Gratitude Day. So instead of, I missed it, I had 15 eggs hatched this year. Every one of them came, I have 15 eggs laid, 15 eggs hatched. They're all healthy. The moms are all healthy, no deformities. And I had killer odds on the Banana Ghost project. So what's there to complain about? Life is good. And it wasn't like I needed those pies to feed myself this evening. So life is good, So I'm thankful y'all are here. And let's get to the topic of the hour, Reptile Shows. So we could take a step back and actually our history, those of y'all watching, you probably don't know, but I met Courtney and Steven on a just kind of on a whim. One of us commented on one of the other's videos, and we discovered we were both going to be at Daytona. And I realized that I found somebody even more excited about ball pythons than I am. And with a, how do I put this? With a wife that shares the same passion and vision for buying great snakes and expensive snakes.
Passion.
Yeah, he's a little more passionate about expensive snakes. I'm the one.
And I was totally hooked when I checked out their Instagram, and I'm like, oh, this is a cool snake. This is a cool snake. This is cool. That's a damn sunset in their hand. I was like, all right, now I really got to talk to these folks and see what's going on. So that's how I met Courtney and Steven. We hung out at Daytona, and then here we are now doing this every now and again, which is really cool. You all just vended your first show this weekend.
Yes. Yes.
Tell us about the show. Tell us your overall experiences. What do we need to know?
Okay, you want to start day before?
Day before.
Oh,
How
like how
about,
I was
I'm actually gonna start like a couple weeks before. So right before we went to the show, we actually asked a friend if we could borrow a display case, because our display case only holds 18 snakes.
18 hatchlings. Yep.
Yeah, hatchling size slots, and you can take those dividers out and do less. But so it only held 18, and we had about 22 to sell. And so we were considering doing deli cups, but we kind of liked the idea of a second display case instead. So we actually asked to borrow a friend's display case. About 2 weeks before the show, we kept having people ask us questions about what we had available. So we listed everything on Morph Market so that we could send them the link when they asked. And within 48 hours, we had sold 6 snakes right there.
Yeah.
So for pickup at the show or at Morph Market?
Shipping.
Now 2 were for pickup at the show.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
four were. Okay, so we shipped
8
4
before the show.
We shipped 4, 2 were on hold, and 2 were picked up at the show.
Yep.
So
then you're down to 16 inventory.
And
that
then
you're setting up a whole vending show for?
yeah, and then one of them decided she wasn't going to be a very good eater, so I didn't want to bring her. So now we're down to 15. And then somehow, and then we ended up bringing 12 to the show, 14 to the show.
14 to the show.
14 to the show because we just kept selling them.
Yeah.
We actually took everything off Morph Market. And
And
we told people who asked that we couldn't. Oh no, we lost you.
Oh no.
No, I'm here. I'm pressing buttons I shouldn't be pressing.
So we ended up with only our display case, but we also have friends vending with us, so they ended up just bringing more and filling up their display that way. And
real quick shout out to them, Will and Jennifer from the Nake Breeders. If you want to find them on Instagram, they're amazing. And Troy from Balls and Strikes on Instagram, amazing people.
And Troy's on our. Actually, both of them have been on our YouTube. But Troy's been on there a lot.
So if everybody watching it wants to go at some point, check out your Instagram. So I saw your vending setup, and first I know you all, and we've hung out before, so you're always welcome to be guests on here. But when I saw your setup, here's a couple things that stood out to me that I think you all are pretty tied in on. I gotta say, your branding, and I don't just mean your logo. I mean the branding topic, like we talked about last week on the show. The overall presentation of the whole experience, whether it be you two, your snakes, how you care for your snakes, your presentation, it was fantastic. It checked all the boxes, and to get really specific, you had the nice, you're using the nice LED acrylic displays. You had, I'm going to flex my banquet and wedding event knowledge before. Is that an 8-foot table cover or a 6-foot table cover you went with? 8 foot. Okay. So you had the fitted table cover logoed, and then was it a backdrop or a pop-up behind?
No,
we didn't.
So we didn't have a backdrop for this show.
Yeah.
And now we were at the very back, facing the back wall.
We were on the corner.
So it wasn't really a good time for
Okay.
a backdrop. But everything, and I wish I had a picture I could. Oh, I guess I've got it on my phone, but I'm not gonna hold it up.
Yeah, no, it's totally good. It's worth the Instagram trip for people.
Yeah. Check it out because it is like you said. We have the fitted table cloth that has our logo on it. The day before, our friends the Nake Breeders set up, and they had what they called little wiggle snakes, and they're like quarter toys,
For kids.
to hand out friends. So while we were getting like last minute stuff, I picked up a purple bucket. And we filled it up with Halloween candy for kids. We set all of our stickers out, and then we also have
Care sheets.
Nice touch on that.
Grab one of those.
Yeah, but they're all like professionally branded, not professionally proofread. We found out because I cannot spell. But it's fine. It's fine. It's good. It's good. All the info's good. Just there's typos in it.
You do all the right things, and then that, right?
And this is actually, we didn't go into it like thinking about this, but I do think that it hits like branding. So I 100% believe branding is more than just your visual appearance. It is how you like communicate and display yourselves to your audience. So
it's just simply logo, ball python care sheet, and our email address. And then on the back, it has everywhere you can follow us. And then just the inside is, the enclosure, the feeding, temperature, general care, all that. And so we could hand that to a lot of pet owners because the show was very pet owner heavy.
Yeah. Well, and that's good news because honestly, if we're only selling to each other as breeders, it really is just a big complicated Ponzi scheme at that point. In a nice way. I'm a part of it. I'm in it. I'm down. Fine. But yeah, you're right. You got to be able to reach out to the pet owners. They got to be confident. And how many new pet owners are truly coming and buying on a whim, knowing what the heck they're doing? Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not.
A lot of people came in without the intention to bring. We even had one little family that came in.
They just don't know. I'm saying they're not experts. They want to buy on impulse, and we want to sell to them on impulse. Mm-hmm. But we need to know what they're going on, right?
Yeah. So we had one family come in that thought the show was a show. they thought it was
Like a zoo.
like a pet, like teaching kids about reptiles, and his
Right.
really into reptiles. They walked out with a pet snake, and
Cool.
so they had no intention of buying a pet.
Yeah.
That day.
So one thing I do want to talk about the show, and I know we were talking about branding. If we're getting off, and if you have other questions for us,
No,
feel
the
free.
show is great. Yeah.
The show overall, we've been to a lot of shows as consumers. Of all of the shows we've been to, it was the second slowest show we've ever been to.
And the first slowest, we went Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, it was a very, very slow show. There was a lot of people who didn't sell anything.
Yeah. Oh, really? Okay.
Or sold very little. And
We heard them as they were packing up saying that it was the worst show they've
ever had.
Yeah.
We sold everything, every single snake except for 2 normals and a banana leopard that Courtney sold
immediately after the
to
show.
an amazing lady. We love her,
Yeah.
but I don't want to say her name on this, just because I don't know if she wants it out there and everything.
Sure.
So the show itself, it was incredibly slow. I personally believe that the reason why we were able to have success at the show, even though it was incredibly slow, was that we were very welcoming, and we talked to people, we engaged with people, where it was like there'd be a family and they'd be walking by and be like, hey, if it's okay with the parents, feel free to have stickers or candy.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, sure. The kids would come over, they'd look at our snakes, we'd talk about the show, talk about what they're looking for, things like that. Made so many sales.
We had one of our breeder males that we were like, if we sell them, we sell them. But I would let kids, touch his tail.
Yeah.
We had a little hand sanitizer, so nothing got spread. But they would, so they would start by touching the tail, and then now they want to hold a snake, and now they want a pet snake, and now mom is like,
we're in.
And it would be. Oh, I apologize.
It's all right. With anything, I believe, I'm just one man, but with anything, you're selling an experience, really.
Yeah.
And if that experience starts with you, not if, it should. And so in my career, wine sales are incredibly important. And I've gone through, and I'm a trained sommelier and all that. They'll fail you along the way if you're alienating people, if you're acting snobby at a table. They realize that the perception of the snobby wine drinker can't continue and grow the industry. And just like we were talking about, if we're just, we got to normalize ball pythons the best that we can, because right now the trend is that people want to invoke laws against them because they're afraid of them or think that they're rattlesnakes or Burmese,
right.
And everywhere's the Everglades. So I commend you all for doing that. I'm glad that the sales came through too, and the results proved worthwhile also.
I feel that the biggest difference between how we vended the show versus not all the other vendors, but some of the other vendors and the ones that didn't have a good week. It was a slow show. The people who were there were pet owners, but they might have been interested, but they weren't fully ready to commit yet.
A lot of them weren't pet owners until they left that day.
Yeah. So it was like a lot of the other vendors would sit down in chairs behind their tables. People would come up and browse. They might be like, hey, if you need anything, feel free to ask. And then they would just kind of let them. They didn't want to pressure them.
Right.
But and I think that because of that, it made it where they may have been interested, but they didn't make the connection to where they're like, I like these people. I trust them. This is something I want. There were people who were selling bananas for $175, and we sold every single one of ours that were, the lowest one we had price was $250.
Yeah.
So we actually, the banana that we sold, and we had him marked higher because he was het albino. So he had a higher price than other bananas there at the show. And since they're just pet owners buying for their, little girl who really liked that banana, they could have gone and gotten the just plain banana across the way. But that plain banana was in a deli cup, in a big mix, in a sea of snakes. And
there you go.
Person behind the table was watching 4 tables, and he didn't have the time to talk to people. And So we let her hold that snake. She got super attached to it. And I'm sure they didn't even see that there was a lower price one across the way because that's not the one they wanted.
That's right. It was that snake at that point.
They didn't care that it said banana. They wanted that specific snake because it was on pretty purple paper, and we gave them candy, we gave them stickers, and that was the fun place to get the pet.
That was where it was to get the pet. So I would argue, actually, before I argue that, I don't know, Steven, you mentioned before, now that was just you and I talking, you were somewhat open about these sorts of things. Share whatever stats you're comfortable sharing. What was your overhead for the show? What'd you invest that's reinvestable or reusable as far as, a durable good like your care packets, your tables, and then just give us like an average sales price on a snake. Just spit.
Yeah. So I'm super open on this stuff because I do think that it's valuable for people to know. So
the only thing we don't talk about is negotiation, because
if we bought something from somebody else or anything like that, like we don't want to do. Yeah. So for us, it was $200 for an exhibitor's pet dealer license for the state of Georgia
for an entire year.
Yeah, for an entire year. So that was one cost.
Okay.
So that way, you're legally allowed to sell. Not everybody has it, and a lot of people sell underneath other people's licensing. But when you register for the show,
everyone has a license to sell pets at this show, Steven.
Yeah. You when you are registering it, they specifically say you need to get this. If you're registering for the show, you have to get the license. If you don't have the license on the day of, you can be denied your table.
Right.
Everything. So you have $200 for that.
That's a good point for anybody that's listening. That's new to me. I got to go find out if there's that in Florida. I have no idea.
Yeah, everywhere's different because South Carolina,
they don't have it. It was $55. There's some tax thing you have to do for South Carolina. We haven't done it yet.
But Georgia you have an exhibitor's license to vend at a show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was one piece of overhead. The tablecloth was about $100 that we had. Awesome. And I don't have the link readily available.
I was gonna say that's a good price. That's I've done some trade show planning before, and that's a good price.
It's nice. It's nice. The logo is within the cloth. It's not on top of it.
Yeah. It's part of the fabric.
Yeah.
No, and it was fitted nicely as well. I mean, it looked sharp. But I look at that stuff just from a career standpoint. So you're 100 in on that.
It was 400 something for the display, and it's an amazing display.
We love that display.
We got it at Daytona.
I think we walked away with it for about 400, and that is top tier caging out of Wake Forest, North Carolina, and they were vending at Daytona. And so the price is pretty comparable to an ARS rack, but we could get it right there, or an ARS display, but we could get it right there and then. And the dividers are removable.
So if you have bigger snakes, you can
take out.
So you got the modular sizes on it that are going to fit. So I would argue
the lead time for it's 1 to 3 weeks if you order it.
So not 9 months.
Yeah, you're not right. So I would argue though, that's expensive for the first show.
Mm-hmm.
But then you're kind of set up. You don't really have those overheads other than the table purchase again. And to your point, you just sold a banana for $275 that the market rate was $175 or $250 and $170, whatever it is. You sold it at a 30% premium. You do that with enough volume, you're paid. I mean, you're paid off already. And here we are talking about it to an audience of 10 right now.
So our highest listed animal at the show was listed for $2,100, and then that was our female banana clown, and then her brother was listed for $1,200, and we had someone buy both of those animals. So they did negotiate, and we sold the.
Congratulations! So you're not just talking, new hobbyists at $200 a pop. You're making some money there.
Yeah.
We got the dame for that clutch for, I don't want to say the price because again I don't want to
exactly.
But it was expensive at the time when we got it. We made so much from she was a breeder size banana het clown female, and she was sold to us as possible blade. She proved out to be blade. This is our holdback from it. So, I forgot what you were doing. So this is I know the lighting's bad, but this is our banana blade clown female that is our holdback from the clutch.
Mhm.
And
Let's see if
oh
that
yeah, that
helps.
might help out.
No,
It might be too
it
bright.
doesn't.
Yeah, sorry.
My bad.
She's beautiful. Super excited. So we got an amazing holdback from the clutch, and we made a lot of money from the investment that we made in that
Right.
leg.
So I think the male and female, the dame and sire together, I think they were under $2,000
Yeah.
for the two of them. And like I said, we had that banana female listed for $2,000. So
Yeah.
it was a 6-egg clutch. We had one holdback. There is not a snake left.
7-egg clutch.
7-egg clutch, one holdback. And so we had 3 visual banana clowns, 1 banana blade clown,
A banana
2
head clown female.
a female banana het clown, and then a blade het clown and a normal het clown. So everything, the cheapest snake in that clutch, we sold at the show for $75, I think. The blade,
$75.
The blade het clown, and the little boy who bought that, he was the one whose dad thought it was a petting zoo. And when it was time to buy a snake, he said, "I want that one. His name is Blade." And I was like, "Yeah, his name is Blade."
That's it right there.
He's like, "No, that's his morph." I'm like, "That's his name."
You hear the little man? It's his name is Blade. So across the board, again, spitballing. I'm just putting you on the spot. But what average do you think it was price wise? Sounds like 450, 5.
It was $350.
I did the
on
math,
average.
and for the show, we made about $350 per snake.
Okay.
Because of the huge, we had some $75 and some
You got the big swing.
So,
But yeah, $350 purchase price for a hobby. That's nothing to sneeze at. I mean, that's really cool. And you did it to scale. That wasn't just 3 snakes. That was 15 you did, huh?
mm-hmm.
We were super, super excited. And like we had sold a bunch on Morph Market beforehand. Like,
Yeah.
And the customers who came, the people who came were the sweetest people. I love
Hunter and Jordan. Hunter
Well,
and Jordan.
So there was a couple, Hunter and Jordan. And Jordan, she and her friend had come up, and they came back to our table 10 times to hold this little white, blue-eyed leucistic. Loved her, absolutely loved this little girl. And so Jordan has her boyfriend come to the show and to like talk him into it. They go over everything they need. They have us hold her overnight so that they have time to prepare all of her enclosure and everything.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, they get everything ready for her. I think they were like, "Oh, we can't find a heating pad," so we had like a spare heating pad. We're like, "Oh, we'll just bring that tomorrow. You don't even have to." Those are stupid expensive. We have 1 million of them. Let me just give you one.
Exactly.
They came back the next day, and when they picked her up, they had handwritten a thank you note and had made us. They had made us gifts. And when I say like they made us gifts, I mean it is so insanely like kind and personal. They did little baby onesies because we're having a little girl in February. So they made us, it says Baby Leviathan.
They made you that overnight to
They
come buy
made-
a snake from you?
And
They bought
bought from us, came
Yeah.
back and gave us a gift.
Holy cow.
like, and it's not this
They
community.
were so sweet.
Like the reptile community, it's not like any other, I would say, like business where you make a transaction and you're like, great, I made the transaction, I'm happy about the customer service. There's a level of connection that you can make with people at reptile shows that you can't get other places. And it was so cool. It was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had in my entire life.
I cried.
That is cool. That is cool.
They were so sweet. Like, and we just kept talking about it. Like, they were so happy with their purchase, and they bought a blue-eyed leucistic, so it's not like they bought that $75 blade animal, So they were happy, so happy with that purchase that they came back the next day and thanked us. And I was just crying, like, oh, thank you.
That is cool. I gotta interrupt for 1 second. I'm amazed. Like I was saying at the beginning of the show, I'm amazed at the relationships that can be built with this community, that can be built through social media, through strangers that literally 20 years ago, we would have never been able to have this conversation in this format. And then like, so a couple funny things that I just happen to know. So Kai from Lucas Land and Royals is hanging out tonight. He was kind enough to come on the show with me last week,
I watched
and
that.
he was one of the very first people whose videos I saw when I was learning about ball pythons. And I was like, man, I want to talk to that guy one day. And sure enough, you know, we're hosting 2 shows together. Then Bod's Exotic Reptiles. Jeremy, you probably don't remember at the Daytona show, I came up and said, hey, and you just kind of looked at me and you're like, you a breeder? And I was like, I'm going to tell this guy yes. And you were like, all right, tell me what you need. And it was just kind of cool. It was just like real connection. And then I found him on Instagram, but we haven't talked. But man, Jeremy, I want to have you on the show sometime. You'll have a note coming your way one of these days. Phil, thanks for coming back, man. It's great to see repeat guests here. And I just want to say thanks to everybody. And Kai, if you were on the show, maybe I wouldn't do this to put you on the spot, but just so everybody knows, go to Kai's Instagram, wish him a happy birthday. Today's the day. Happy birthday, Kai. I really appreciate you, your support and what you've done for me in the show, man. It's been very cool. I see my camera froze. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, we can still hear you.
But you look like this.
Yeah, I'm like this is what matters, and I'm pointing.
Yeah, you turned into a USB cord. But happy birthday.
There we go. Yeah, happy birthday, Kai. Oh, and then, man, I don't even know if that's true or not, Kai, but I like it if it is. That makes us the very same then. And I'm sorry, man. So Jason from Ancestral Royal Pythons, I got to tell this story with Jason too, because it was really humbling, and then I just felt cheesy. I just felt goofy. It was like I was in middle school at a dance again, which is not a good scene, comfortable scene for me. So I'm at the Daytona show, and me and Charlie, my 9-year-old boy, we're walking across the street, and Jason, I think you were there at the moment. Man, there was cops everywhere. I was like, what is going on here? And it turns out they were rehearsing for a funeral, which was kind of sad. But anyhow, Jason and I get talking, and you know, hey, what'd you pick up? What do you got going on? Hey, here's a sticker for you. He gives me a sticker, and I said, thanks, man. Take care. And I'm walking off, and he goes, hey, I really like those videos that you do. And I was like, what? And like, anyway, it was really cool. I never met Jason before. We got talking. So anyhow, Jason's sticker is one of the first ones on the inside of the snake room. So those are all the cool relationships, and they're sitting right here in the room tonight, which is really cool. I'm humbled by that. I appreciate all you guys. Thank you all so much. Make sure if you're watching and you haven't said hello, say hello. I'd love to know who's here. So Courtney and Steven on. So am I right? I mean, would it be your argument like the solid presentation, the investment you made in that, those are all durable goods, highly worthwhile?
Like honestly, I think the things that helped us the most, we had one of us stand in front of the table rather than behind it, so that we could like one-on-one, if someone needed, like if they wanted to hold an animal, we could be all round to take them out already. And you know, Mr. Bubbly right here was able to just, you know, here, have some, like, he kept saying, like, have some candy. I'm like, hors d'oeuvres, refreshments, but
yeah, you got to bring some bubbly next time. A little champagne, every sale, just pop a bottle kind of thing.
Yeah, having those stickers. A lot of breeders have the stickers out, but you never know if they're like for sale or if you can just grab them. So just being offered that sticker, and honestly, whenever a kid would walk by, I'd be like, "Hey, kid, here's a sticker." You know, like here, stick this on something at home. I know your mom would. You know. But so the big things for us was having someone in front of the table, having the free things. Just even though they're just candies and stickers, it made such a big difference. And we had our big breeder male Jaro out.
He was the father of some of the clutch.
He was the father of one of the clutches there. Yeah. And he was like our ambassador snake. So you start them off by petting this big snake, and now they want a baby snake. Right. And he is in quarantine now because he got held by so many people. I don't want him.
I was going to ask you about that later.
Anyone who got held at the show is in quarantine right now.
Okay.
And like we only brought 3 snakes home, but one of them never was handled. Nobody was ever interested because it was a female normal het clown, so she was priced higher than the female normal pet
Yeah.
albino, so nobody's gonna pay another. Pet owners aren't gonna pay an extra $25 for that het clown.
Not that, no. Do
So
you?
nobody ever handled her, so she's not in quarantine.
So two thoughts come to mind. One, so like I said, I ran restaurants, and one of the things I did about 9 years ago is I got rid of my host stand. Any restaurant I've run in the past 9 years, I've gotten rid of the host stand. It's an iPad so that we can walk up and engage the guests rather than sitting back. You got to come to me like you owe me something. There's this subliminal elimination of a barrier that you can really truly engage with people. And, COVID, of course, kind of screwed that up a little bit. But in the long run, the point being, I think getting rid of that barrier is a huge detail. Do you envision in the future as you scale up, and actually I'd be interested in what Kai says, although I don't know if Kai vends at shows a lot. I don't know. Do you envision a stock, like two separate facilities where you'll keep your show stock so that you're not constantly quarantining, mixing back and forth? And once one thing goes into retail stock, it stays in a separate facility? How do you see that in the future?
So one thing I noticed at this specific show, this was a local show. It was really focused on like pet owners. There was a couple breeders there, but really pet owners were the ones.
Arlington was going on the same weekend.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
stuff
true.
that was really popular were things that were $300 and lower. Mm-hmm. They sold really, really well. And we had friends who were selling amazing animals, but they were like pastel, red stripe, yellow belly, spot nose, which they end up selling this like het clown.
Last thing they sold.
Yeah, it was, but they ended up selling. It was a great sell, but they had stuff like that was outside the price range for most pet owners, and that was the target demographic that was at these local show or this local show. So I feel like we get to like scaling one, we already talked about, we don't want to go to shows every single weekend on the like show circuit.
Yeah,
we want shows to be special for us. We want to go to maybe like right now the 2 times that they have the local show a year.
They have it 4 times a year, but we would go twice.
Yeah, and then once we're like scaled up, where we're having like the sunsets, the freeways, the super asphalts, all of that stuff going, maybe Daytona or Tinley.
Yeah,
once a year. But we don't want.
I feel like that's something you got to try. Like even just to say you did it, like that's pretty cool to do.
So 2022, we're thinking of doing possibly a spring and a fall show, but local. And then 2023, we'd like to also do Daytona.
So to your earlier question about like splitting it, if we were like scaled up and we would try to probably keep like these are specific projects and animals that are making like pet snakes, like $300 and lower, maybe some blue-eyed leucistics in there, stuff like that. And then there'd be like high-end project snakes that are much more like
not ones you let people handle unless they're about to drop a couple.
That's true. Yeah.
Stacks on. Right now we have one hatchling rack, and we do not want to take something out of the hatchling rack and put it back in. The hatchling rack is where they are pristine. That's their.
They've come from the egg, go in there. No other snake ever touches it.
So that one we would keep separate, and hopefully at that time we'll have 2 hatchling racks, and one could even be the quarantine, the show snake hatchling rack.
Yeah, because I was thinking about that. Like, there's a great breeder, George MD, that I really like, EMDE, and he talk about a customer service guy. He is killer. He's awesome, but he's got a huge. I mean, his display at the Daytona show was huge, and he's like, I bet it's twice a month he's vending at shows, if not more. I mean, just from the few weeks since Daytona till now that I've seen, his 3rd show will be coming up here in Jacksonville next month. So I got thinking about it. I was like, he's got to have like a separate facility that he just wheels them in and out of versus the continual quarantine process. I would think. I don't know, but I would think.
We have so much luck on Morph Market and Instagram. Honestly,
we don't need, at least right now, we don't need to do shows.
We just really wanted to. Yeah. So like we said, we had to take everything off of Morph Market so that we would have, like I sold $130 pastave on Morph Market, and they paid for shipping for $130 pastave. Like people will buy them if you have a pretty picture and people like you.
I was going to say, I've had great luck on Morph Market, and people can do their own math, but I just had my first clutch and I've already got a selling history on Morph Market. So I mean, I like it. I like the venue. This is going down a different path, and we probably won't go very far. But the guy John that started and still oversees Morph Market, he was at the Daytona show.
Yeah.
And talk about customer service. He bought a booth just to hear people's feedback. That's all he wanted. He had a table, he had a couple stickers, and him and a notepad, and like he was like a sponge. Like it must just be exhausting taking feedback from everybody who thinks they're an expert telling you what you have to do. Like I find that myself exhausting. It was a really great lesson in building a brand, building an industry, building a product that people want. He was engaged on what I had to say. He was engaged on what my son had to say. Like I want to get him on this show. Like he is. I think the world. I see Morph Market in a whole different light after talking with him. So.
To agree with someone in the chat, Morph Market is addicting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So much so that I'm actually kind of a little tired of Morph Market, honestly. We like 2:00 in the morning. Psst, look at this snake.
Look at this. Look at this. It's amazing.
No, it's cool. I love Morph Market. It's an amazing product. It is definitely addicting.
So what do you see? What was your experience on? I always hear of show prices. So what was your experience on Morph Market prices versus show prices? Was there any difference? Did you have to give any
difference? One is for Morph Market. I'm pretty sure people negotiate more often. At the show, the only person who negotiated was another breeder. Every other person just paid the price that was asking.
Yeah, everyone was pretty and a lot of them were pet owners who'd never bought a snake before, so they probably didn't know they could negotiate. We actually had a friend who we were vending next to, and this girl kept coming back. And the last time she came back, he wasn't at the table. And I was like, hey, by the way, you can make an offer. Because I kept hearing her say, it's just too high. I was like, hey, he's priced to negotiate. And I see that. Yeah. He's priced to negotiate. And I can't tell you he'll say yes to your negotiation, but know that you can negotiate. And that's what I left it at. 10 minutes later, she's walking away with that snake.
Yeah, that was another question I was going to have. Did you sounds like you found everybody pretty respectful versus just feeling like you were trying to get beat down. Like it was,
no.
It was a happy medium of price discussion and price paying.
There was one person that negotiated with us that at first went too low, and then he offered the pied female.
Oh, we didn't talk about our pickups from the show yet.
Oh, yeah. So, we'll do that in a second because someone else had a question. But, so he negotiated to bring the price down, but he also gave us a pied female, and we were like, well, that pied female is a $400 snake. So you just added $400 on because we could turn around and put it in our...
We don't have pied, yeah.
We wouldn't just turn around and sell her because we got to make sure she's like healthy first.
Right.
But,
so he brought you a pied to negotiate with?
I don't know if they brought her or if
he had bought her earlier.
If they got her for a really good deal and decided to use her to negotiate, I have no idea. But we ended up with bringing a pied female home.
Yeah, but wow. I see. Yeah. That's the stuff I love. Like, so when I travel, I love eating because you learn so much from culture and it's delicious. The other thing I love is going to local markets, whether it's just another place in the United States or it's in another country. You can learn so much they're just the Wild West of culture. And that's a great example. You're like, I don't know where it came from. I don't know if he bought it. I don't know if he brought it, but
and we're not letting her near our other babies, but she's a pretty little pied and we don't have any pied. But yeah.
So
I didn't know if you wanted to answer the Morph Market question since we're the
Morph Market one or the getting your name out there.
He said new to Morph Market.
There. Drew's here. Let's pop this up. We can. This is a good rabbit hole anyway. So Drew says, "Hey, don't be bashful about the Q&A. You can ask any questions that you want. I might not know the answers. We might not, but we'll consider it. Do either of you have advice to get your name out for someone new to Morph Market? So what do you think, Steven and Courtney?
Social media.
Oh yeah, social media. But when we say social media, I'm going to go off Instagram because that's like our main platform. YouTube. Each platform is different on it. This isn't just taking pictures and posting them. And then when nobody finds your stuff, being like, well, nobody's engaging with me, I'm not growing fast enough, and then giving up on it. especially when you're starting out. I would say if you are sub 3,000 followers, you have to go out to other places. You search on the browse feature, hashtag ball pythons, hashtag snakes, things like that, and then you sort by recent. So these are showing every single post as it's coming up chronologically. Somebody could post right now, and as soon as they post, it pops up on there, and you click on that post, you like it, you engage in meaningful conversation with them. You talk about their snake, you talk about the morphs, talk about the projects you're in. Then you go to their profile, and you see on their profile the different other pictures that they've already posted, but they weren't recent ones. And you like 5 to 7 of them, you comment on other things, and that's how you build the meaningful connection early on. And you do that. We called it grinding.
Yeah. So a big thing that actually I think is really important for the morph market specifically is once you have like a couple followers on Instagram, talking specifically to people who have told you that they're interested in things. And, you know, when you're brand new, you just started, you haven't really had an established morph market yet, saying, hey, I know you were interested in an animal. I'm going to go ahead and post them on morph market, but you have dibs. So let me know if you want me to go ahead and put it on hold on morph market. And we're actually going to sell this animal through morph market. If you don't mind inquiring on the animal, letting us respond to you, that way we can go ahead and put that transaction that's already going to happen through morph market. So they're still buying that animal. They're still getting the same customer service as
same price.
Exactly, as if they'd found us on morph market, but we had found them through Instagram. We'd found a buyer and we brought them to morph market just for those first, like that first clutch, just that first clutch. And we're not padding reviews because we're not fake
They're
selling
actual they're sales. We just found them through Instagram.
We found them through Instagram and sent them to our morph market so that that way we could get the review, we could get that we were established buyers. After that, what we did is we took really high quality pictures, and I think that made such a big difference.
With our logo, on our logo, not watermarked, because everybody does watermark. On our logo, we printed off a big sticker. It's like an 8-inch sticker. Put the snakes on our logo. Took the pictures there.
And the pictures are high quality, and they're really pretty, and they're like I'm not trying to like go over, but they're artistic. So like you get the tongue flick or you get the motion of the snake in them. So it catches the eye when you're browsing by latest and you see a bunch of snakes on a white backdrop or on a black backdrop or just plain stuff. And then like, bam, bam, bam. What are these like model shots of these others? Let me check them out. And that's like the 7 or 8 snakes that we sold on morph market in like 48 hours. We did not know a single one of those people.
Somebody on there, these were the first snakes we ever posted on morph market. We had done the like ones through Instagram. These are the first ones we really posted on morph market and sold through morph market. A lady bought a banana het clown female, which 100% banana het clown. We have a whole YouTube video on it of us like getting the clutch, cutting the clutch, seeing the stuff. She bought a banana het clown female from us. Saw our social media, saw our reviews, liked us so much and trust us so much, she left us a positive review before she even got the snake.
That was the mystic.
My bad.
But we did sell
What remains?
Both of the banana clown, the banana het clown and the banana clown, both of the women that purchased those animals found our YouTube and and found the video, the egg cutting video. They texted me later saying, hey, is this my baby I just bought on your video? And I was like, yeah, I should have sent you the link. Steven told me to. I just forgot.
And I know there's a lot of stuff that we just said. Drew, my advice, whenever you're building your content, you're trying to get your name out there, find ways to connect to the people that you want to do business with most. If you want to do business with people who are friendly and welcoming and warm, show that in all of your content. Invite people to engage with you. Engage with them, go to theirs, be supportive, because as you draw those people to you, that's how you're going to get your name out there. And that's how you're going to get people who want to do business with you that are perfect for you.
And it doesn't help to be really friendly with established breeders.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't hurt. No, it doesn't help. It definitely helps to be like, hey, person I just bought a super expensive snake from, let me keep you updated so that one day you'll be like, oh yeah, those guys, they're great.
But yeah, I know there's a lot of stuff. I apologize on the word vomit. We're excited about it.
No, I think it's awesome, and it's something that made at least me, click with you all because you all take a processed approach. I think process is important. So recreatable, consistent results typically come from great processes, whether it's making a burger in a restaurant, whether it's breeding great animals, delivering great sales. So Drew, I'll tell you my whole, and I know this sounds convoluted and maybe crazy. When I started on social media 10 months ago, 11 months, it was last November, it was because I knew I was going to start breeding. And I always have asked myself in business how I'm going to separate myself from every other person out there. So whether it was restaurants, which are, as my lifeblood, or music, ball pythons now, I had a lot of equity in those industries because I've been in them for 2.5 decades, not ball pythons. So I started just sharing everything as honestly as I could. And what you all just said was exactly right. If you share honestly and you share demonstrating your guiding principles, you're going to attract people that are interested in those same guiding principles. And it's funny because I'm watching YouTube the other night and somebody suggests this book called Show Your Work. It's by an author called Austin Kleon, and it is a New York Times bestseller. And this is like a modern day roadmap for building a community by showing your work, not being an expert when you start. It's talking about how creative people build off of each other, and you don't have to be an expert. You can learn. He argues 2 amateurs will figure out something faster than 1 expert often will, and they'll do it better because the expert only knows what he's always done, and the 2 amateurs are going to figure out something cool. And so that's my long backstory. My short story, Drew, is start sharing who you are. Start a YouTube, start a show, start an Instagram, and you're going to figure it out like you wouldn't believe. You're going to figure it out like crazy and fast, and you're going to learn cool things about interacting with people. And then you're going to stumble on other ways that you're going to interact with people. And that snowball effect really does work. I don't know if you were on the show earlier, Phil. I got 700 followers on YouTube, and somebody just contacted me today out of the blue and wants to give me free stuff just so I'll talk about it. And it's like, well, I'm the new little guy in the pond, but here it is. So anyhow, there you go. There's a fun things. Inquiline, John, you got to start I haven't seen your social media starting, man. You got to go.
One thing I do want to add real quick on it, this isn't just social media. This is all different aspects. It's actually something that I learned recently in a work conference that Courtney
pays attention in work conferences.
So it's there's 3 different aspects or like qualities that build trust with a consumer base. I work in marketing for anybody who isn't.
Couldn't tell.
But so the things are relatability. People trust people that they think are like them. The next one is transparency. They trust people that they believe are going to be honest. And then last one is traceability. So being able to show like, here are all the steps that I did to make this happen. So when we were selling, one of the things that we did, we didn't even realize it at the time. We have hatch cards, where as soon as the baby hatches, we have these like nice branded cards that has their hatch date, their lay date, the morphs of their sire and the dame. It has note section where every single day that an event happened, they had their first shed, they had a meal, all of this stuff. Every single piece of data, we had it all in a nice, really cool, pretty branded card. Courtney's grabbing one now. So that way, when people were talking about, I'm thinking about the snake, we could say, and here's all of the information about them.
Sorry, go ahead.
And because they had all of the information, they were able to trace everything about the snake. It helped build trust in it.
What was really cool about that is someone saw that the snake that they were interested in, the hatch date was the same as their birthday.
Yeah.
So that was, right there. But actually, I think with the traceability that I personally think is more important is being able to go back and check out, make sure that we're real people. Yeah. So like, for example, in Morph Market, we've been looking at a lot of super asphalts. There's a GHI Mojave listed as a super asphalt on Morph Market for what, $4,000?
Yeah.
It's a GHI Mojave. So if I'm going to be like, it's like everything's $4,000. This GHI Mojave branded as a super asphalt is $3K. If I don't know anything about it, I'm going to go for the $1,000 cheaper. But I
Doesn't
know
even look
better.
like a super
It doesn't look like a super asphalt. They didn't even fake a picture. You know, they took a picture of the wrong snake. But I can always go and see if they have social media attached to it. If you have
That's
social media attached, you know that a bad review could like crush you. All it takes is for someone to like put you on blast on social media and say that somebody sold you a fake animal or a sick animal, and then that social media whole presence comes crashing down. That's all of your sales. That's all of your reputation.
Yeah, your ownership in it is huge. I was watching Billy, just a quick rant from Billy the other night, and he said something like, there's a reason established sellers on Morph Market aren't scammers, because it takes too long to establish a good brand and a good name. And even if you're going to make a $10,000 payday, it's not worth a year and a half of work for one. It's just not. It's just, you can make more in that amount of time at McDonald's than you can doing that. It just doesn't make sense to do. So yeah, you're right. That traceable ownership, that brand that goes with it, that established history that you can look up. That was all my mindset when I was like, I'm going to start at the start. You could go back to almost day one of me in the hobby, and for sure day one of my camera antics on my channel, and relive all of that if anybody wants to,
I truly believe that whether it is social media, whether it's ball pythons, whether it's any kind of endeavor that somebody really, really wants to achieve, it is never too early to start working on it. And
Right.
if every single day you can find, I did something to take a little teeny tiny step towards that goal, even if it's just going on Instagram, making one post a day, and then going and commenting on 3 different profiles like we talked about earlier, every single day you'll get closer and closer and closer to your goal.
We started our Instagram 9 months before our first eggs hatched.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
We started our Instagram at the end of August in 2020, and I think we just broke 6,500 followers. We've gotten we were growing. I would say doing the strategy we talked about earlier, about 100 followers a week, and I think now we don't do it at all anymore just because we don't need to, but we'll still engage with the people that we're following and like commenting on our stuff. We're just not actively going out and doing stuff. And I think we're averaging about 200 followers a week.
Yeah.
Right now.
And a big thing of that, I think we got 100 followers straight from the show. A lot of people. And I was like clicking on them. I'm like, oh, that's the girl who was holding the banana leopard. Oh, that's the girl who really liked that butter pastel and never or said her parents wouldn't let her keep it at the house. Those people went back and followed us, or like the people we sold to, they followed and they commented on our pictures and stuff. And it was really cool to see them see where their babies came from.
Yeah. And that's that community aspect. Like I say, like 20 years ago in a classified magazine ad, it just did that community just didn't exist. It wasn't real. So I think it's an amazing time in history to be doing business. I think it's an amazing opportunity that we have in front of us. And I think it's amazing that we're all sitting here right now. That is for absolutely sure. So how many hatchlings how many hatchlings future for sale stock do you have left?
We have 2 clutches hatching out.
Okay.
That are ready to go. We have 2.
Yeah.
We have 2 that we could mail out. We could sell today.
Gotcha.
No, I'm sorry. We have 1 that we could sell today. The other, I'm not comfortable selling her yet because she's not a good eater, and I want her to eat more consistently before we.
Are you all at the point where you're doing that? You're able to leverage in the market a pre-sale kind of stuff yet, or when do you advertise? What's the timing of advertising?
So we on that banana clown clutch, when we listed them on Morph Market, they will be ready to go after they are 80 grams and have taken 3 consistent meals.
And
so
how old were they when you posted that?
They
1 meal.
They were 10 to they were about 14 days old, so they all taken at least 1 meal before we listed them.
Yeah.
But we had to give them 2 more meals that they would take right away on their own.
Right.
Before we would ship them. And so now with the clutch that we have 2 people interested in our banana calico plus cinnamon enchie clutch. And 2 people who have already been like, hey, text me first kind of deal.
Yeah.
So we've got a girl who was interested in the banana that we had already sold. So she's like, well, let me know what you get. And then someone else who bought a Mystic Potion, and now she wants a banana enchi. So if we get a banana enchi, she's interested in that kind of deal.
And this is I'm not saying this goes for everybody. This is just us. We've already like internally said that if somebody reaches out to us, like saying like, hey, I saw you had this clutch, I really want one of those babies. If we don't have to put in any additional work to market it, they get it at a discount. Is like our thoughts on it.
Yeah. So like if they, like, for example, we sold a banana leopard. We brought 3 snakes home from the show on Sunday. One of them was a banana leopard, and somebody else had already shown interest in it. And she was like, I can't make it to the show. Let me know what you have available after the show. So when I texted her, I was like, hey, your baby's still available. And I'll give him to you for X instead of Y, because she was already interested. And I mean, I would have sold him at that show for maybe, $25 higher, but I'd much rather sell it to her, who I know is a good pet owner. I know her. She's purchased us from us in the past. Plus we have a t-shirt we were getting ready to give her. So we were going to see her anyway.
Yeah. No, I think I think that stuff is a no-brainer when it comes down to customer service. They could buy from anybody out there. They're doing you the honor, and especially if they're repeat customers on that. And so when you were saying earlier, when you listed the snakes, are you talking about listing them on Morph Market, or you listed them on like Instagram?
Morph Market for that clutch, the banana clown clutch.
But that Mystic Potion, those Mystic Potions sold so fast that I felt guilty about all the people asking for them.
Yeah.
One girl who bought a female Mystic Potion, she said, I see your other one is on hold. If they back out, will you let me know? Because I want that one too.
Yeah, no, that's great. I've had some of the reverse where it's like, oh, hold this for me, and then the person backed out. Matter of fact, I had one guy, I had a mature breeder female that I almost regret selling now, and I've heard time and time again it never makes sense to sell a breeder female. But
get with Bob Vu, he has a bunch of them for sale.
What's that?
Get with Bob Vu, he has a bunch of them for sale.
Bob Vu is downsizing. I think he's specifically getting out of the spider project, so he went ahead and is getting rid of most all of his spider breeder females, but others as well, because we got a granite and a Enchi from him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I have to check that out then. So I was holding this girl, and then the guy, I knew he was starting out. I knew that he was just building a collection, and I said, hey, you know what? She's just sitting here. You want me to pair her for you while you wait? Maybe you get ahead and I can help you out. And he was like, yeah, definitely. That'd be killer. And so I did. And then like 3 weeks later, he's like, man, I can't get her. She's not going to happen. And I'm like, great. Now I need to explain to everybody that I'm selling a breeder female that may indeed just show up to be gravid. So whatever plans you have, now you're going to have to hedge your plans. And all's well that ended well, because I found a really cool group of people that are working on breeding projects together, and Orange Dream is up their alley, which is what I paired her with. But you take the good with the bad, and you run into some crazy stories as far as tire kickers, and everybody's gung-ho until they're not,
We actually, I think the closest thing we had to a tire kicker was a girl who really wanted a snake, and she basically said, I'm going to ask my roommates, I'll be back tomorrow if they say yes. And she was back the next day. That's the closest we got to someone who nobody wasted our time. And at least it didn't make us feel like it, because they were.
And I don't necessarily know that I don't think anybody's doing it purposefully, to be wasteful. I just think it ends up that way,
Oh, I just mean so we did have a woman who came and she looked at the snakes, and then the next day she brought her kids to see the snakes. She didn't come to buy an animal, and I don't care. That's fine.
No,
I had a blast showing all the kids.
And
her daughter really wanted a snake.
Yeah, but you do that show twice a year. Maybe you see those locals the next time, and then you make the sale.
They followed us on Instagram, so
there it is.
When her daughter is old enough to do it on her own, she knows where to go.
Yep. So I thought it was really interesting. I don't know if Kai is still watching or not. Probably not. Last week, Kai and I were talking about brand building, actually, when he was on the show. And it was great because 2 weeks in a row, we've had the 1, the 2, and the 3 outline come up. So we are now, we're 10 minutes in overtime, which is okay. There's no penalty. There's no real rules. But tell us what to look for in the next couple of weeks. What do you got coming up as far as social media for yourselves? And then give us a rundown of those 3 things to build your brand.
Okay.
And because I see it as a ongoing theme, and we will wrap tonight up. I want to tell everybody thank you for being here. Take a look at Leviathan Snakes, Leviathan.snakes on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. You guys do it right. I'm rooting for you. I'm jealous of some of the things that you're doing in a very healthy way, in a proud way, rooting for you kind of way. And I want to be part of the future. And you're always welcome on the show. You've been very, very, very good to me from the start. And I really, really appreciate that. I can vouch for everything that you all are projecting. It's legit. I'm down with it.
We're super freaking excited and happy that you had us on. Do you want to say, I was going to do the brand stuff because I'm excited about it.
So do it.
I was going to do, because it's the YouTube video we're doing, if you wanted to tell them the one story about the super asphalt because it's funny.
I know y'all are trying to wrap it up, but just real quick.
We are good. I just, I didn't want to ramble or wander. So go, if you got a purpose, hit it.
So the YouTube video is going to talk about our pickups that we made this weekend. And here's a little sneak peek about our favorite pickup, the super asphalt female that we went back and forth to Dreamweaver's table about. And he had her listed for a very good price. But I had a specific thing that I wanted to spend the money we made over the weekend on. I wanted an ARS rack. And if we bought that super asphalt female, we wouldn't have that money in the account for the ARS rack to pay cash and buy it tomorrow kind of deal. And I really wanted that ARS rack. I really wanted that ARS rack. I really wanted that ARS rack. So I kind of told Steven, I was like, well, if he'll take this amount, which is like an insultingly low amount, then yeah,
sorry,
we can
Michael.
get her.
Or we didn't. Yeah, sorry. But no, he's not in here, but I was just saying.
Sorry for what? No, he didn't take the insultingly low price. I'm just saying, I was like, no, unless he'll take this, you can't have it. So Steven's like, well, I'll go ask. And, he runs off and he comes back and goes, no, he wouldn't take that. That's way too low. So at the end of the show, I'm sitting down and Michael from Dreamweaver walks up and places the snake in my hand and goes, your husband bought you a beautiful snake. And I about...
Oh, nice.
I about drove off.
I didn't.
That's exactly what he says at the show. He's like, no. I about drove off without him. He's like, no, I did not. And I was like, what's going on? He goes, your husband says you want an ARS rack, but you've got a DIY rack, right? Like that can last you. You're not going to be able to DIY this snake for how many years? Ooh. Yeah. So, and so we didn't pay him an insultingly low price, but he did give us a deal on it because
he wants pretty much we're committed to giving him a really good deal on our red stripe yellow belly het sunset clutch.
Yeah, so we worked something out.
No, and those handshakes are killer. Yeah. You know what? I could do a whole show on that sort of arrangement where there is the trust, and of course you're going to follow through. There's no doubt you're going to make it right. And I had a really similar experience with that guy, George Endy, and I don't know how I'll make it up to him, but he fast forwarded me at least 2 years on a Dream School project, which
is just
awesome. Steven
incredible.
Sunset has gotten us plenty of deals because he just keeps using it as the I don't know if he realizes that we're about out of het sunsets to give people. But no, so Michael was really cool. We really appreciate that. He said you've got a Dreamweaver snake in your collection.
They're
I don't
awesome.
blame you because he's got some beautiful stuff and he's a great guy. And I know this because I have a super asphalt in quarantine right now.
No, it is killer. I saw it on Instagram. I brought it up earlier in the show, and then I was like, and then you told me you were like later. I'm like, okay,
yeah, and then
it's beautiful. It's great. But,
yeah, that was a good.
So following up on the brand stuff, I know you'd asked for like 3 things. This is actually one that I've been thinking about. I just started.
Oh, I was saying the same 3 as earlier. The how you built the 3 ways to build trust.
Oh yeah. The 3 ways to build trust is relatability, transparency, and traceability. Okay, so those are 3 ways that you build trust within an audience.
Yeah.
So just trying to find a way to connect with them where we are the same type of person. Then I am honest. And one way you can show they're honest is talk about your fears, talk about your failures, talk about the things that you've done wrong, because that shows that you are an honest person. It helps build that transparency. And then lastly is traceability is here's who I am. I'm a super big nerd. Here are the failures and the mistakes that I have made. And here is the entire process that created this animal that I'm trying to sell you right now.
Right.
That's how you build trust, like within an audience. One thing I do want to talk about, because I do think it's really cool, then I'll get off. I know we're way over.
No, we're good.
People wanted us to keep going, but I don't want to take up everybody's time or take up your time and all that stuff. It is about your marketing funnel. So there's 3 different stages of the marketing funnel. There's awareness. This is when you're getting people to know your name. There is engagement. This is when you are having people interacting with you and they're building trust and rapport. There is conversion. This is when you're making sales and getting customers. And that's the traditional marketing funnel. There's a 4th stage, and the 4th stage is advocacy. And this is how you take your customers that have already converted and made an action, and you find a way to connect with them on a deeper level, so that way they become advocates for your brand. So one way that you can do this is that if you have a customer, and let's say that you know that your customer is a big D&D nerd, we're big D&D nerds, and you ship them a snake, you have their address. Don't say anything to them. Wait a week, wait 2 weeks, write a handwritten note talking about that you are so excited that they have it, that you can't wait to see what they're going to do, and mail them a set of $5 D&D dice.
Yeah.
And it will make that connection, and no other breeder is going to do this.
That's right.
If you do this, you will stand out and they will love you forever. And you can build advocates.
What are you doing that nobody else is? How can you connect with that person? I've got a great friend that's like a brother to me, and he always tells people you are the magic, and he's the magic. He's the one that makes the experience happen. But yeah, how do you make those people feel like rock stars? What is there on top of just the snake? And it can be actions. It doesn't have to cost any extra money. It can be a handwritten thank you note. It can be something that money can't buy. I've worked for millionaires and billionaires in my day, and at the end of the day, if you can give them an experience or a memory that they couldn't buy, that's even better than anything else. So I'm still, speaking of fan and advocacy, a raving fan of this book, the transparency, the process, how the sausage is made, so to speak. Share it, get it out there. You will find your community. You will find people that trust you. You will find similar, like-minded people. I don't do this much. I'm not good at it, but the likes, the subscribes always help. I absolutely encourage you to check out Leviathan Snakes. The photography is fantastic. They will make you feel guilty about the junk that you are posting, and that's okay, because you're on your journey and they're cool with your journey too, and they have killer stuff. I want to say thanks to everybody for being here. We do this every Tuesday night at 8:00, and Steven and Courtney have been on a couple times now. Kai's been on a couple times, and shoot me an email at properroyals@gmail.com if you ever want to come on and be a guest. I hope everybody knows if you come on as a guest, I'm indebted to you. I'll put you over. We'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. Thank you all very much. We'll end the way that we begin, with the obnoxious music. And until next time, thank you all for being here. Stick around, Steven and Courtney. We can always catch up for just a minute. Everybody in the audience, thank you so much. I'm humbled. You all might not realize that we hit the highest concurrent viewer mark, which was 16 that we've ever hit on the show, which is very, very cool as well. So cheers, everybody. Thank you. I'll see you next time.
Thank you.